It's off the beaten path a little bit. It's tucked behind a couple of palm trees here. You don't really know what's happening inside this place. It's clearly stated the Creative Workshop. What's so creative that's happening back there?
Creative Workshop is a place where we build incredible mechanical pieces of artwork. So the creative comes from doing whatever we need to do to make cars glow, and workshop is, well, working on those wonderful cars.
Why here though? Why in this kind of building? Because really you could have driven by this and have no idea what's going on in there.
Well, there's two reasons. First of all, I like the kind of idea of being a little bit low profile. The people who know us, they find us, and it's kind of a little bit of that what's behind that hidden door thing going on, you know.
On the DL.
On the DL, if you would. And on the other side of it, it's bizarre karmic fate, which brings me from where my background is, which is New York City, into Dania Beach, which is a suburb of Fort Lauderdale, in a 75-year-old barn that used to be a granary. How these things happen, I really don't know. It's just one of those things.
Well, I'm dying to find out. Can we go inside and have a look?
Let's go take a look. These are our main barn doors, which open up into our showroom, which we are very busy right now. So we actually have a car being prepped for delivery. This Shelby was a repair project, which our client is coming to pick it up tomorrow. And then we'll have a little bit more space.
And you have something tucked in the corner here. You've got books galore. Like, what's going on?
Indeed. Well, this is my baby. This is my wonderful Citroen was a trade that I made with somebody for work I did on their 1910 depot hack. This will probably be the first project I build with my son when he's of age. Besides that, this isn't our working showroom. We have manuals and books and guides that stretch back to the dawn of motoring, which would be about 1896. So if you could possibly imagine a car, we probably have a book, a manual, a wiring diagram, a photograph, or some kind of a judging guideline as to how in the world we're supposed to build it if it ever came in here. So.
And in there is where all the magic happens?
Upstairs and in there is where all the magic happens.
Let's go check it out. Who are these guys? Are these some of the mechanics that work on?
I've been trying to figure out a way of getting these dogs to work now since I've had them. Both of these are saved dogs. One of them is from the pound, one of them is from a friend of ours. Both of them I got when they were about the size of their heads, which I guess I have to stop feeding them because they're bigger than the shop right now. But these are our mascots.
But you know that you're inside of a granary barnyard when you have a couple of guys like this.
Everybody knows the dogs. All of our clients bring treats for them, and they're chewing on bones and guarding the place and all that fun stuff. So research and parts, guys will be here to do research and to look for pictures. Whenever a car gets taken apart, we take thousands of photographs. Every picture we take is on this computer.
Wow.
So a year later or 2 years later, if we need to, a guy can go back, bring up that picture and say, holy shit, this is the way this thing, oops, sorry, holy moly, this is how this thing gets bolted together.
So how important is the internet? How has that revolutionized what you do?
It has completely changed the game.
Because you can actually go on and find...
It allows me to communicate with people in different languages, because I speak a little French, but not enough, enough to get me in a lot of trouble. But it allows me to communicate with people in different languages, in different countries. It allows me to research. It allows me to community. It allows me to bring people together that would have never known we existed, because the cars we work on are so rare and so exotic that I can find somebody in New Zealand, I can find someone in California, I can find someone in South America, all at the same time and bring them together so we can collaborate immediately to find parts, to find information, to find a factory photograph that no one knew existed, that has got the angle that we were looking for to understand that that part that's on the car now is not right, and that we need to get the part with the sharper edge, not the rounded edge.
And how much is what you do here contingent upon that research process?
It is everything. I would say that we probably spend as much time researching, learning, and cross-referencing than we actually do wrenching.
Wow.
The cars we work on. Now, obviously, we have some cars that are not as exotic and rare, which is wonderful. That just kind of, gets the, but most of the stuff is the Olympics, and you got to be ready to jump real high. So.
Well, what do you have right now?
Cool. As we come into the main shop, we'll hit upstairs in a minute, but upstairs is our trim and upholstery shop in my office, which overlooks the main floor.
Okay.
And then you come through over here, and we have our basic machine shop, which gets us out of a lot of trouble. I work with I work very closely with a machinist that gets us the other 10% if we need to.
Right.
Then we have the main assembly and disassembly floor, and you'll see all projects in different stages. This is a 1980 Aston Martin. We've completely redesigned the car. To give you an example, let me see if she's open. We could probably pop it open, you have to see. This car was built in 1989 at the absolute epicenter of shitty engineering, okay? And the car could barely get out of its way. Where's the latchy fella on this? I get confused with all these cars. Where in the world?
Yeah,
it's on the other side.
It a little differently.
Yeah, everyone does it differently. The brakes were terrible, the transmission was terrible, the fuel injection was terrible, the exhaust was terrible, the air conditioning was terrible, the convertible top was terrible. They brought it in here, and we redesigned everything. Completely customized, modern exhaust. There we go.
Ooh.
Completely redesigned the fuel injection system, completely redesigned the cooling system, completely redesigned the air conditioning system, completely redesigned the suspension, brakes. We changed it from an automatic into a manual transmission, custom exhaust, custom headers, redesigned the mechanics of the convertible top so the thing would actually open and close. Amazing things like that. And then what we also did, which is really kind of nifty, was this car was an American spec car and had rubber bumpers and all this nasty stuff that American legislation makes people do to destroy a car.
Right.
We brought it back to Euro spec. So these are chrome Euro spec bumpers, airfoils, rally lights in the trunk area as well. So we took this car, made it sexier, made it faster, made it stop better, made it handle better. Back to the races.
And how often are you doing that? How often are you actually redesigning things or changing the specs or, you know, playing with that kind of stuff?
50-50. 50% of our business is what we call conversion here, redesigning, adjusting, stylizing,
right.
And then 50% of it is what we call forensic restoration. It is the absolute Smithsonian Institute.
Original.
We will pull a bolt out, look underneath the head, because the outside of the bolt would have been subject to the elements, whatever. You turn it upside down, and that underside would have never been touched. And we'll look at the finish from the underside of a bolt to understand what all the bolts would have been like, and then we'll use that precedent across the car.
So would you say that detail is important then?
Detail's kind of important around here. So.